the secret code behind airplane seat design. You know the feeling of quiet, localized betrayal. You paid the premium for a window seat. You expected a portal to the clouds, a brief psychological escape from the recycled air and the metallic hum of the cabin. But as you click your seatbelt into place, you realize the view has been stolen. You are staring at a blank, beige plastic wall. The window is 6 inches in front of you, or 4 inches behind you. You have to crane your neck or lean uncomfortably forward just to catch a glimpse of the runway. To the casual traveler, this is an annoying mistake, a lack of coordination between the engineers who built the airframe and the airlines that bought the interior. But when you look at the blueprints, you realize there are no mistakes in the sky, only optimizations. That blank wall is the physical evidence of a secret war being fought over every square inch of the atmosphere. It is the visual record of a spatial recalibration where your anatomy was weighed against a balance sheet and lost. You were not sitting in a seat, you were sitting in a unit of yield. And that misaligned wall is the only part of the corporate algorithm that the machine could not hide. Welcome to the lore of the labyrinth. To understand why the windows moved, we have to look back at the ancestral blueprints. In the 1960s, the golden age of flight, a plane was an architectural statement. When Boeing designed the Boeing 707 or the Boeing 747, the lore of the industry was simple. The view was the primary product. Flying was a luxury, and the cabin was designed as a guest suite. In that era, the airframe and the interior were a single, unified entity. The windows were spaced at roughly 34 to 36 inches, matching the distance between human shoulders. This measurement is known in the industry as the pitch, the distance from one seat back to the next. In the Golden Age, architecture followed anatomy. A passenger's eyes were the primary data point for the design. The windows were placed exactly where a human head was expected to be. But as the 1970s ended and the 1978 Airline Deregulation Act took hold, the logic of the sky shifted. The industry transitioned from the service model to the logistics model. In the world of logistics, empty space is not a comfort, it is a tragedy. The Great Erasure began as airlines realized they could unlock a hidden dimension of profit if they could decouple the seat from the window. They needed to turn the cabin into a modular grid. If you want to see the code of the labyrinth for yourself, don't look at the walls. Look at the floor. Beneath that thin, gray industrial carpet lies the secret of the machine, the seat tracks. When Boeing or Airbus delivers a brand new aircraft to an airline like United or Ryanair, it is delivered as a blank canvas. The windows are fixed into the fuselage at set intervals, usually every 20 inches. Those intervals are dictated by the structural ribs of the plane. The ribs are the skeleton of the aircraft. They handle the immense pressure of the cabin. They cannot move. They are the hardware, but the floor has something else, continuous metal rails that run from the cockpit to the tail. These rails are the software. They allow the airline to ignore the windows entirely. The seats are not bolted to the wall. They are clamped to these floor tracks using a system of modular fittings. This is the core of the lore, the desyncing of the machine from the human. These tracks allow an airline to change the density of the cabin in a single afternoon. They can slide the seats forward by 2 inches, then another, then another. Because the seats are independent of the windows, the airline can fit 180 people into a space originally designed for 150. When you see a misaligned window, you are looking at a spatial drift. The seats have been compressed so far forward that they have drifted away from the structural reality of the plane. The wall in your face is a tombstone for the 4 inches of legroom that were deleted to make room for an extra row. You are witnessing the code breaking under the pressure of profit. In the secret language of aviation management, this is known as LOPA, the layout of passenger accommodation. This is the God script for the cabin. It is a digital blueprint that determines exactly how much suffering a passenger will endure for a specific price point. Airlines use LOPA software to run yield simulations. They ask a cold mathematical question: how many human units can we fit before the safety regulators intervene? 20 years ago, the standard code for economy class was a 32-inch pitch. That was the baseline for human dignity. Today, ultra-low-cost carriers have pushed that code down to 29, 28, and even 27 inches. In the logic of LOPA, a 2-inch reduction across a Boeing 737 does not just mean less legroom. It adds an entire extra row of seats. On a high-frequency route, that single row of 6 extra people represents an additional $5 million to $10 million in annual revenue per aircraft. When you multiply that by a fleet of 500 planes, the wall you are staring at becomes a billion-dollar asset. The misalignment is not a design flaw, it is a revenue optimization. The airline knows you will be uncomfortable. They know you will feel claustrophobic, but the LOPA algorithm has calculated that your threshold of tolerance is just high enough that you will still buy the ticket. You are being mined for your own physical space. In the lore of the labyrinth, you are not the passenger. You are the cargo that pays for its own transport. There is a final, darker mystery to this architecture. If the seats don't align with the windows, why have windows at all? A windowless plane would be stronger, lighter, and significantly cheaper to maintain. Why keep the portal if the view is blocked? The answer is not for your comfort. It is for the audit. Federal regulations mandate that during takeoff and landing, the window shades must be up. We are told this is to help our eyes adjust to the light in case of an emergency. But the lore reveals a different truth. The windows are safety sensors. They are there so that the watchers, the flight attendants, can see outside for engine fires, debris, or wing damage. In the lore of the labyrinth, the window is a diagnostic tool for the machine. The fact that you, the passenger, can't see out of it is irrelevant to the system as long as the system can see through it. You are sitting in the way of a sensor. The misalignment is a compromise between the airline's greed and the regulator's fear. You are a ghost in the machine, caught between a revenue target and a safety check. To keep the labyrinth functioning, the industry had to invent a new marketing lore, the slimline seat. Starting around 2010, airlines began replacing thick, padded seats with thin, lightweight shells. They marketed this as innovation. They told us that by making the seat thinner, they were giving us more legroom. This is the ultimate coded lie. While the knee clearance might have increased by ½ an inch, the seat pitch continued to shrink. The slimline was not designed for your knees. It was designed so the airline could slide the floor tracks even closer together without your knees physically touching the seat in front of you. It is a physical patch to a design flaw. Furthermore, by removing the padding, the airline reduced the weight of the plane. A lighter plane burns less fuel, and a lighter plane earns more profit. The slimline is the architecture of austerity disguised as the architecture of progress. You are sitting on a plastic shell so that the LOPA protocol can achieve its final, densest form. There is a limit to how far the labyrinth can grow. That limit is defined by the head impact criteria. Federal safety laws mandate that in a crash, a passenger's head must not strike the seat in front of them with enough force to cause a fatal brain injury. This is why seats fold forward. But as the floor tracks move closer and closer, we are reaching the crumple zone. If the seats get any closer, the airbag effect of the seatback fails. The geometry of the human body becomes the bottleneck. This is the only reason you still have 28 inches of space instead of 24. It is not because the airlines care about your comfort. It is because they have not yet found a way to bypass the physics of a human skull hitting a tray table. We are living in the final inch of the sky. The misaligned window is a warning light, a signal that the machine has reached its absolute capacity. We have traded the majesty of flight for the efficiency of the crate. The next time you board a flight, don't just look for your row. Look at the drift. Observe the way the seats have slid away from the windows. Look at the hidden rails beneath the carpet. Feel the decompression of your personal space as the LOPA protocol takes effect. And realize that the wall in your face is not a mistake. It is a mirror. It reflects a world that has decided that humanity is a luxury, but density is a necessity. It reflects a world where the view of the horizon is less valuable than an extra $50 on a quarterly report. Alice had her looking glass. We have a beige plastic panel. The most disturbing part of the lore of the labyrinth is not that the windows do not line up, it is that we have stopped expecting them to. We have accepted the wall as the price of admission to the clouds. We have become accustomed to the desynced world. You think you are flying to a destination, but in the modern sky, the cabin is the destination, a gray compressed box where the horizon is a memory and the code is the only thing that remains. Welcome to the lore.